children, my brother and myself. I remember, I think it was 1974, because I had just had my son. My mother got a call from my grandmother, Theola, and she told her about the reunion. Why don't you come down? So my mother had a friend named Henry Copeland, and as she said, he used to play the guitar. Him and a friend. So what happened was my mother, myself, my son, who was a toddler, and her friend, we all got in the car and came down to for the first time to the family get-together, as they called it then. And he would play his guitar, and everybody was singing and happy. They was I remember them cooking, I think it was the Dunstons. They cooked chicken in the big old cast iron pot in the yard.
Big pot.
Yes. And that to me, I tell you, that was good. And from that time on, every year, we always came down to family reunion. So,
I know, but it's always said that we were never slaves. Cousin Sarah told me that. She lived to be well over 100 years old. And she's been gone for a long time. Her brother was one of the persons that Booker T. Washington took to Tuskegee. His name was also Albert Dingle. And she told us that we were never slaves, that we were always free people. The Dingles were, and the Carters. And the Carters were Grandmother Callie's maiden name.
The Carolina Dingle was a part of our roots, and they owned the area called Moncks Corner, South Carolina, out near the dam that ran through. Now, none of us own any of that land today, but
it got away from us.
But yes, it did. We did own it. Mm-hmm. They owned the entire town.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know.
He made shoes. I also remember being told that Booker T. Washington heard about the Dingles and the Pearsons and how industrious they were, and that they all owned land. And Booker T. Washington went to that settlement. It's still called the Freetown until this very day. And that's where our parents came out of, the Freetown, below Davis Station, South Carolina. When we had the reunion in Manning, I took some of you all there to that area. It's called the Freetown. We have a very, very rich history. Booker T. Washington heard about our ancestors and went to visit them. And he took cousin Albert Dingle, not our granddad, a cousin, and another one of the cousins to Tuskegee, and they graduated from Tuskegee, and they went with Booker T. Washington. So our family have a very, very rich history. I love my family. You see, before you were born, Quintine, I don't know how old you are, but I knew you were not born. Your mom and dad brought Uncle Irvin to see us, and they had Charles with them. I think Charles was 10 and I was 11. And from then on, I've known Cousin Ruthie. She was a bride, and your mom and dad smiled at each other the whole time they were there. And the next year when they came, you were the result of all that smile.
Uncle James would bring up Faye and Ray, and I think Dennis and Denise and all. They would come up and they would stay at our house. We never got a chance to see them. Then we finally, my dad would disappear for a weekend. Where'd Daddy go? And we did not know the family reunion was going on. Sometimes he said he would just drive to the airport if he didn't feel like driving. The other time he would just drive up and he said, well, I went to see James. They take us. It was really good and clean, and like I said, everything made you appreciate the family, and that's why we want to keep going. For those that are here, we're getting older now, you know. The next generation to step on up, our kids, bring them in, let them get to know their cousins. We've got family all up and down, we got family here from California, you know, New York, Florida, all over.
you said don't pay any dues, but nothing can run without money.
That's right.
If you think something can run without money, try your car.
That's right. That's right.
And you'll see how far you go without money. So, in order for us to keep going, if it's not with $5, whatever God placed on your heart to contribute to this family. I just ask you to contribute to my heart a scholarship fund for these children. And I remember I asked for it in Atlanta, Georgia. Whenever Nisa and I had it, I've forgotten. And I know it was Atlanta, and I was brushed aside. And 2 years later, Little Urban, Bishop Dingle, we were in North Carolina, and he touched my heart. He took the floor. And he said, y'all listen to me. My cousin Rhoda is sitting here. She asked that we start a scholarship fund. She doesn't have any children. She wants that for our children. And I still want it for our children because these are my children. And
by the name, they refuse to answer. But they go into judgment where I've got to go, you got to go, and all of us got to go one day. And the Lord said, be ready. Yes. What? When he do what? When he comes. Be ready. And we don't know, he said, nobody knows when the Lord is coming, but we do know he's coming. Oh, yeah. We know the Lord is coming one day when he get ready. And so he wants us to be ready. He said, be ready. He don't say be getting ready when he comes. He said be ready when I come. Since you don't know when he's coming, so you be ready and you stay ready. And you be all right. And I'll be all right.